basically we're at a situation right now with art where they have put a lot of time and effort into the art style of Final Fantasy. They have really just brought it to a 10. They've done a great job trying to flesh out this world that a lot of people may not have a lot of experience in. And they're trying to make it look like magic, right? Whether it's like exactly like magic or it's leaning more towards the 3D 2000Z style of the game, I think that they did a really good job fleshing out the world. They did a really good job trying to invest and make things, make sense. Like there's just so many things in this set specifically that I think art style wise, they just knocked out of the park. They did a great job. Great job. This one, and I'm not like the biggest fan of this art, but it looks insane from a flavors perspective, right? If you're someone who's played this game, you understand that the like the the Imperials, I believe what they're called, just have like an infinite resources. This is one of those cards where I looked at the art and I was like, oh my god, I as a non-Final Fantasy player love this card. This art and flavor, the mechanics of the card put to the side. It's someone blowing up something and saying, such devastation! This was not my intention! And I don't know who that character was or what that moment was in the story, but the art and the flavor made me feel something when I saw this art. And this is the style of art that I think Final Fantasy has nailed on the head. They've brought in amazing artists to nail situations and make it so impactful and give you that emotional response that is traditionally what we identify with good magic, right? And then from that, you go to this, and it's literally a screen capture from the game. Like, I can't emphasize enough how ridiculously bad these screen captures look. And I know that we don't have like the super high def resolutions, right? All these lines could be perfect, but it's still a screen capture from the game compared to something that's been created by an artist who has invested time and who has tried to show a moment that is impactful in this game, a character, a game, something that needs to be explained to the Magic community, and they need to understand what is Blitzball. They need to understand. So from the art is 90% of what a card gives emotionally. It allows somebody on first glance to go, okay, this is someone who like does something, and they summon something, and they pull things out of the mist, right? And now you read the card, and flavorfully it all works. This art is beautiful. This art is beautiful. Someone put a lot of time, and even if it's not traditional Magic style, somebody put a lot of time into making it a good cross between the traditional Magic aesthetic and the Final Fantasy aesthetic. And they did a really good job trying to keep it subtle, trying to show nuance. And the importance of this game is 90% in my mind from the amount of respect we have for these cards. If we were to look at something like this, right? Something like this, we could say these don't look like traditional Magic cards, but maybe they lean more towards the Final Fantasy style, towards the Final Fantasy cards. This, I would say, is a very clean Magic card from art to flavor text, right? To cost to effect. All of that, I think, nails it on the head. They did a really good job trying to make Final Fantasy something that Magic players would not just throw away. Something that Magic players would not just say is unneeded. We don't need the Final Fantasy cards. We don't want to see any of this stuff. I think that this style of art and flavor is traditional Magic. They did their best to make this a Magic set that people can respect, that people aren't going to look at and say, oh, well, this is just dumb. They did a lot of really good work with cards like this. And then they chose for the special treatments. And the other style of special treatments are, I've heard from people who are more informed about the game than me, that the other form of special arts in this set are the experimental before the game came out release of the characters. It's to explain what they looked like before the game came out. And that's cool. I like those. This, on the other hand, is a special art treatment, where they have literally screen captured a part of the game, a cutscene, a character, and they literally pause the game, screen capture and have copy pasted that behind a magic card and said that it's a special art treatment. It's so incredibly jarring to go from something that looks and feels like a magic card. It's a moment in time, it's an experience. It shows exactly, like, it fleshes out the world, right? To go to something like this, something like this, something like this, something like this, and they don't all look as bad as each other, but compared to something that has been made by artists specifically for the game, specifically for people who have never played Final Fantasy to look at it and accept it as a part of the world of Magic, I think that they did a really good job on the flavor of the rest of the set. And then whoever came up with the idea of these special art treatments and who was in charge of them, it really feels like they just didn't put any effort into it. It looks like they literally just took the time to screen capture, and they probably submitted them all within, I would say, an hour period. Because yes, you have to go through all of these games, right? But you could literally just go to cutscenes on YouTube, and then you could pause them, you could zoom in, and you could screen capture and then try to put this behind this card. And this is, I think, I don't want to say it's an abomination, but it's definitely a disrespect to the rest of the artists in this set who have done a really good job of trying to flesh out the world, because really what it does is it takes all their hard work and it discredits it. People are going to look at this and they're going to say, well, see, Final Fantasy and Universes Beyond is not meant to be in Magic. And they're going to destroy all of the hard work that the rest of Wizards has tried so hard to do to make sure that they lay a groundwork, a foundation for art in Magic. Because when I started playing Magic, and I know I'm going to sound like a boomer here, all the art, it made me feel something, right? There were better and worse examples. Nothing was a home run always. However, they tried. They hired real artists. They took their time with things, and I've watched slowly over time, right? As like with the encroachment of AI, like, not saying this is AI, but this might be just as worse than AI. AI, at least you have to write a prompt. You have to try to put some effort into AI, and I hate AI in regards to Magic, but this is literally, you're playing the game, you press your screen capture button, you take a rectangle, and then you literally just copy paste and trim it on the card. Boom, you got Kuja. Like, I don't understand how are we supposed to show this to a new Magic player and say, yes, this is a Magic card with a straight face? This is something that, as somebody who cares about Magic, I have to say my piece. I have to say how I feel, because there's other people who understand how I feel and they probably feel the same way as me. And if I don't say it, then someone else is going to stay quiet too. And we all need to collectively say, hey, Square Enix, whoever this is at the bottom, no, you're not doing this to my game. You're not going to be taking screen captures from Marvel's Spider-Man, the video game, and you're not going to be putting it into rotation. And I understand this is a commander card, right? I understand that this is something that's a special art treatment for specific people who want them. But those people who want this card better, right? Do this character, but do it in a 3D style, and don't screen capture it. Don't just look at this and say, look, this is good enough. Don't just say, look at this and say, yes, this is good enough. Yeah, it's blurry, but it's still going to look bad. Like, I understand the idea. We want to take a frame from the game and let that person experience that moment again when they first saw this character, right? That's a cool idea. But guess what? You can do it like this. You can give them that experience. This does not give me any emotional appeal. In fact, it's negative. It makes me look at this card and say, wow, I've lost to an all a bunch of times. It's a really good card. However, I really don't like this card just because of the art. And the art is meant to do that. The art is meant to give you a emotional response. You're supposed to go, oh, they countered my spell. You're supposed to go, oh, that's a cool bird. You're supposed to go, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. It's random. Oh my God, somebody blew up half the world. They didn't mean to. Such devastation was not my intention. So cool. I get chills when I think about that. And then I turn the page and I literally see this. I see this. I see this. I see this. And it feels to me like someone is, I'm not saying this is the consensus at Wizards, but someone is trying to cut corners in order to not employ artists, because there could have been an artist for each of these. Someone who you give these screen captures to and you ask them to flesh it out. You ask them to make a 3D model, you make them do it better. because this honestly is, I would say, the least effort that you could possibly put into something. And this, it just makes me sad. And I love Magic. And, you know, I just wanted to say my piece because this card I didn't see this art until recently. And this art made me, I showed it to my mom. I showed this art to my mom. And when my mom read this card, she looked at the art and she read the flavor text and she went, "Whoa, that's crazy." And my mom, who does not know anything about Magic, had an emotional response to this card in a positive way. She was like, "That's crazy." She said, "That's cool." And we shared a moment looking at this Magic card. And I literally showed her this after that, and she went, "That's gross." And so I just want to leave it on that. You know, if someone who doesn't play Magic can look at something like this and say, "That's a well put together Magic card," and it made them feel something, made my mom feel something towards the game, be proud of the fact that I play Magic, looks at it and says, "That's some amazing art and some amazing flavor. That's really cool." And then she looks at something like this and she looked me dead in the eyes and she said, "This is important. This is not okay." Because it's for the art of Magic is one of the reasons why it's respected by non-Magic players. They know that we are nerds. They know that we play cards and we like strategy, all that stuff. But what do they enjoy about Magic? Why do they tolerate us? Well, because sometimes they get to see some really cool stuff. And sometimes we'll like tell them a really cool story about the flavor and stuff, right? What's the flavor here? The flavor is that they wanted to make a legend modeled after somebody in a game, but they didn't model them after somebody in the game. They literally just took a screen capture of the game. And if we let this slide, if nobody says anything about this, then Wizards is going to think that this is okay. And it's probably going to sell because it's the best selling set of all time already. And so Wizards will say, "Well, look, we can do more stuff with Square Enix," if that's the artist's name. No disrespect to them, but this is just unacceptable. The level of effort is directly proportional to the results. And I think that the results are very poor here. Maybe when you get them in your hand, they look holographic and 3D and they pop out you, stand up on the card. But I think no matter how they do it, this is just not the same as this. And I understand it's a special treatment. I know it's a special woo for the rich people. However, I will say that if you open one of these cards, right, and you don't play Magic, right, like someone gives you a pack or something, you just started playing and you don't play Final Fantasy, that's what I should say. If you don't play Final Fantasy, these art styles are frustrating. Frustrating because artists are the backbone of Magic. And if we take the artists away, if we allow ourselves to cut corners to save money, we're going to lose our backbone and we're going to die. So I really appreciate y'all watching. Thank you so much for being here. Ben, I'm so sorry I've been ranting the whole time, but big shout out to the members. If you enjoy Goblins content, if you enjoy listening to me ramble, hit that like, subscribe. Easiest way to support the channel, and it's free. Up here, we got the members, and then I'll dip. Alpha Ronan, Tim Stopdex, Elias Sutter, The Darth New, ADDY100K, Jared Munsterman, and Annan. All you legends, appreciate you so much, and I'll be back on later for the stream tonight. But I just had to get that off my chest because that's crazy. But I really appreciate y'all watching. Until next time, peace.